Hi everyone, it's me Spring, the fiber enthusiast. Welcome to my channel. Today's tutorial is going to be a cotton made Tunisian style can cozy, or you can change it up and add some extra height to it, turn it into a water bottle cozy. We'll talk about all of the different variables as we come to them. For today's tutorial, you're going to need some cotton. I'm using some I Love This cotton, which is a 4-weight by Hobby Lobby. Whichever you choose is up to you. I'm also using a 5mm hook, and like I said, it's Tunisian, so I've got my Tunisian hook here. Stitch marker, a yarn needle, pair of scissors, and preferably some type of measuring tape. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. We're going to start with the bottom of the can cozy and work our way up. All right, so the first thing you're going to want to do is place a slip knot on your hook. And we're going to chain 1, 2, 3, and 4. We're going to place 11 double crochets into that first chain. So you will have a total, including this first chain, of 3, because now we're taking up the first one with placing all of the double crochets into it. So then you have a chain 3 left. So if you count your chain 3 and the 11 double crochets, you will have a total of 12 double crochets. Go ahead and continue working those 11 double crochets. If you prefer to do the magic circle and work into the magic circle, that's completely and entirely up to you. This is just how I prefer to work the 12 double crochets for my base. All right, I will meet up with you once I have a total of 12, and we'll work on round 2. Okay, so now I have my total of 12. We're going to slip stitch to the top of that chain 3. And now we're going to chain 1, 2, and 3. And you're going to place another double crochet back into the same stitch. Now you're going to place 2 double crochets in every stitch all the way around. You will have a total of 24 stitches. I will meet up with you at the end where we slip stitch to the top of the chain 3 and begin round 3. All right, once you have your 24 stitches, you will now slip stitch to the top of your chain 3. And we're going to move on to the last round for the base. And chain 1, and now we're going to place 2 single crochets into that same stitch. So there's 1 and 1 more. One single crochet into the next, and that is your repeat. 2 single crochets into the next. 1 single crochet into the next. Okay, so I am now coming up to my very last stitch. You should be 1 single crochet into your last stitch. Now we're going to slip stitch to our first single crochet, not that chain 1 on the side there. Make sure you're getting into the top of your first single crochet. And if you need to place a stitch marker, by all means, please do. Now we're going to do a little bit of measuring. You should have 36 stitches at this point. The base of your at the widest point of your circle, the base of your can cozy should be roughly about 3 inches, give or take, you know, just a hair. But we want to be as close to 3 inches as possible. Now for a can cozy, the up portion needs to be about 4 inches. So we are going to chain until we have 4 inches in height for this chain. Now, let's see where I'm at here. All right, I'm just slightly over, which is fine because I'm gonna go 4 inches and then add 2, which is exactly what I have. Now, if you want to do a water bottle, you're going to have to do the height of your water bottle in this chain that we're making. This is our starting chain, which will be on the side here. Like that. So we're going to be working around the base that we just made. So for my particular chain, I have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 chains. I'm going to start my Tunisian simple stitches, my first row, into the second bump. So if you turn your work on its side, there's the front, turn it on its side, we're going to count back 1, 2, and we're going to insert our hook, yarn over, and pull up a loop. We're going to do that in every bump all the way down to our base, to our can cozy. So go ahead and do that, and I'll meet up with you once I have made it down to the can cozy, and I'll show you what to do next. Okay, so you know that you have done it right if you have the same amount of loops as you had chains. So I have 16 loops on my hook. I'm keeping the base with the front side facing me. So my tail is on the opposite side. Now what I'm going to do is simply reach over and insert my hook into the next stitch on my base, yarn over, pull up a loop. I now have 17 loops on my hook. I'm going to yarn over and go through 2. And yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 2, and continue all the way till you have 1 loop left on your hook. This is our Tunisian back pass. And we are going to repeat this all the way around our base. I'll do the Tunisian simple stitch and back pass with you one more time. And then I'm going to let you have it until you have reached the end. Then we'll meet back up and close this up together and finish it up. Okay, so here we are at the beginning. We have our very first horizontal bar here, but that is the loop on your hook. It's considered in Tunisian your very first stitch. So we're going to go to the next one and insert our hook, yarn over, and pull up a loop. Go to your next horizontal bar, insert your hook, yarn over, and pull up a loop. Continue down all the way to the base of the can cozy, where we're going to pick up 1 extra from that base. Make sure you have 16 loops on your hook before you actually connect to that base. So just go ahead and head on down here. Okay, let's double check and make sure where we're at. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15. I need one more horizontal bar here. Make sure that you count and you're getting the same number, because otherwise it will shrink on one side and look a little strange. So that's my 16th stitch. Now I'm going to pull up the 17th stitch from the base here, like that. And now I'm going to yarn over and go through 2 and start my back pass and go all the way to the end till I am down to 1 loop on my hook. And you're just going to repeat that 2 rows, those 2 rows, all the way around until you have come to the end. Let me finish this real quick. Okay. So you're going to continue working all the way around your disc here, the base, until you have reached your last stitch on your disc. We'll meet back up at that time. Okay, so I have worked all the way around our base to the cozy, doing the Tunisian simple stitch. Now I'm going to cut quite a bit of tail here because we're going to be weaving in and out. So, I don't know, give yourself a couple of feet. And I'm going to run through that last stitch I made just to kind of lock it in place. Then I'm going to come over to the first row that we did, and I want to catch the very first stitch at the top here and bring these 2 together now. Now what I'm going to do is sew these together, but I'm going to do it a little different than just a whip stitch. So I'm going to go through my next stitch like we would with our crochet hook. I'm going to go through that stitch. Then I'm going to go through the stitch on the opposite side. So the side that we started on, I'm going to go through one of those legs there. Now I'm going to go back through that original stitch. Let me zoom in and see if you can see this better. I'm going to go back through that original stitch. So it's kind of like we pulled up a loop, but we're connecting to the other side. So let's go ahead and do that again. We're going to go to the next stitch down. This next stitch. Going to go down through the top through, like we would bring our crochet hook through there. And go to the next unworked stitch. Go through. And now go back through from bottom to top, the opposite side. We'll do that again. Go down to your next stitch from top to bottom, go through, go to the opposite side, go to the next non-worked stitch, come through and then back up through that stitch. So essentially what we're doing is our needle with our thread on it is acting as our crochet hook. So we're going through the vertical bar. If I turn it this way, maybe you can see it a little bit differently. So we go through the vertical bar, right? And normally we would pull up a loop. Well, I'm going to go to that very first row with my needle, go through that stitch, and then come back down and go back through that same stitch that we started with. So here's our loop. We just made. That's our loop. So just continue working that down to the very end down here, and then sew in your ends, and I will come back and show you how to clean up the top and add a strap if you so choose. Okay, so I'm down here at the end, and I wanted to show you this is loosely done. And then before I sew in my tail, I'm gonna hold pressure at the top, and down here on the tail, I'm just gonna pull, and it's gonna act like a little zipper here, and tighten up all of those stitches that we just made. So there's very little ridge here, not much, but just a little bit. So now I'm just going to take and insert my needle in through, turn it inside out, and sew in my ends for the tail and the starting tail. I'm going to go ahead and sew that in. I'll meet back up with you and we'll finish this off. Okay, so now let's go ahead and clean up the edge. I'm using a contrasting color, which is black, and I slip stitch to one of the stitches around the top, and I'm going to single crochet into the next stitch and place one single crochet in every stitch all the way around. I am crocheting over my starting tail. All right, so here I am at the end. Here is our seam. This is where our seam began. We're going to jump over to that first single crochet and slip stitch to that stitch. This black is peaches and cream, so it's kind of a little bit more stiff. So that right there finishes up that round. Now just chain one and single crochet into the next stitch, not the same stitch, the next stitch. And place one single crochet in every stitch around and slip stitch back to your beginning single crochet. All right, so I'm coming to the end of round 2, and I'm going to go ahead and slip stitch to that very first single crochet. Now we're going to insert our hook back into that stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop. Into the next stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop. The next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop. The next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop. The next stitch, pull up a loop. And we have 2, 4, 6. I want to go 7, 8, 9, and 10. All right, so now that we have 10 loops on our hook. I'm going to yarn over and chain 1. Now I'm going to yarn over and do my back pass, going through 2 stitches at a time until I have 1 loop left on my hook. Then you're going to Tunisian simple stitch back across, and you're just going to continue doing this until you have it the length that you want, and then you will just whip stitch or stitch, sew it to the other side or the same side, depending on if you're making it like mine, which will be rather short. Don't forget, when you've come to the end here, you're going to have to turn it on its side and pick up both of those legs, the end, to complete that stitch. Yarn over, chain 1, and then complete your back pass. Go ahead and continue on, and when I have this to the length that I want, I will come back and show you how to finish that handle up by sewing it down. And then we'll do a little design work. Okay, so I have made my handle here as long as I'm going to be making it. And once again, you can continue to work on yours until it is the length that you would like, whether it be a handheld strap size, shoulder strap size, across the chest size. That's entirely up to you. Mine is short because we are going to be sewing it over, and this actually is enough space for the belt to go through, so it will go onto a belt like a holster. This was a request, so this is where we are with making this koozie, koozie cozy. So I will measure this flap in case you're interested in making it so that way it fits on a belt. Again, that's going to all determine on what size belt you're going to put it on. Just as a general, mine here is 4.5 inches long. So I'm going to be folding it over towards the inside and stitching it back to itself. So I'm going to go ahead and cut free from my ball of yarn. And once again, this is all something that you can just alter to the size that you want. It's just giving you the basic idea and a rundown as to how to start and how to work up the side. And we'll do a little design work on it, and I'll show you how to do that. So I'm going to go from the same side that I'm on and catch my very first stitch down here at the bottom, pulling that over. And I know this is going to be a little bit difficult to see because it is a black yarn, but I will be going and utilizing all of my stitches just picking up. These first couple are going to want to go around the side. Now, when I'm utilizing the stitches, I'm actually picking up those stitches that you would normally pick up while you are Tunisian simple stitching. And then I'm going down here and picking up another stitch from the main part of the project. Then I'll go to the next one that's unworked and pick it up. Then go to the next stitch down here and continue that motion. once you reach the other end, don't forget your last stitch on the end of the project where you pick up both bars and sew it in. Now what you're going to do is hold your project firm on the opposite side of your tail. Hold it firm and pull it like a zipper until you feel that it's cinched down all the way to the opposite side. And that secures everything good and tight. Just like that. And then you'll weave in the rest of your tail in to hide it, and we will get back to designing. All right, so let's do a little designing. You want to? So you can use your Tunisian hook. That's perfectly okay. I am switching. This is a bamboo hook, and it's really grabby. And I want a hook that is going to be slick and less grabby for what I'm doing. All right, so we are going to be working around the circumference of this. And I'm just going to pick it up, and somewhere between the bottom and the black at the top, I'm going to add a couple rounds of black. Now I'm going to insert my hook from the outside, and I want to show you where I'm going to insert my hook. I'm going to be going in between stitches here. So just like that. From the inside, I have my yarn that I'm going to be using. I'm going to place it on my hook and pull it up like that. Back up through. Okay, so now I'm going to go into my next stitch and yarn over and bring up a loop. Just like that. Then I'm going to take that loop and pull it through the previous loop. Now I'm going to go into the next one and do the same thing. Grab the yarn from inside, pull it through, and then slip it. Insert into the next spot, yarn over, pull it through, and through. And I'm just going to work a couple of rounds just like that. All right, so I'm back with it finished, and I grabbed the other one that I had a longer handle on, and now I'll just do some quick overview of what we have done. This is for on a belt loop. That's how I made the little handle here. Or it could be put on, if it was narrower, you could put it on one of those clips. So yeah, I just did the basic Tunisian simple stitch, and then I added some decoration to it as far as the stripes. This one you can see I worked up and down like this. And this has not quite long enough to go over the shoulder, but long enough you can hold it in your hand and not have to hang on to the bottle. The bottom was a little different on this one, but not by much. It's really easy to alter all of it. The basic is you want to get your dimensions as far as 3 by 4 for a can cozy. Everything else is customizable. You can do it however you so choose. So at any rate, I hope that you've enjoyed this tutorial. It's kind of a little different, not your standard cozy tutorial, but here is the water bottle cover, or can cover, depending on what you want to put in there. All right, everybody, be blessed, be a blessing, and until next time, bye for now.